It's time for the great and powerful Matty Johns. Matty, you with us?
Oh, yes, Fletch, how are you?
Yep.
What a combination you blokes are.
Oh, it's great. Now, just getting back to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, like we've all done it when we're lying on the lounge and you fall asleep.
All the time.
You know, you might wake up at 2 a.m. Do you just push on and stay on the lounge, or will you go up and go into bed?
Oh,
What's
it
your
depends if you're in the doghouse.
What's your technique?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have usually a couple of days a week on the couch. I find it quite... I enjoy the couch because you get there. I find it quite relaxing. So I've said this, Scope. I've said this to Fletch before. What I do, I'll come home from night out and just lay on the lounge. And what I do, I jump on YouTube and I just do train travel. So what it is, you're in a train and it just does like Trans-Siberian Railway. Next stop, Vladivostok. Boom. Next stop, this. So it actually, and then you're literally on a train. You get that.
Oh, and that puts you to
all
sleep.
Yeah, that's soothing.
Puts you to sleep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's literally like you're on a train, and then you might wake up at 3 o'clock, totally just maggot, and then you just look and you go, mate, you're still on the train.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really great.
Can you on this train? Could you pretend to get up, and go and meet other people? And talk to these other people. I mean, we're just talking about sex robots. I feel this could be a bit of an angle for us.
Fletcher, what I do generally when I'll be on the lounge and watching, and a few times I've got up to go to the toilet, but unfortunately it was in the cupboard. But that is what you do when you're full of drink. Don't
we all?
Matty, I feel like whenever I've been on a few Thursdays now in the last couple of weeks, because every time I'm on, there's more news about the Newcastle coaching situation. It has been confirmed. Justin Holbrook is the coach, and I've seen on your podcast with Cooper, you think it's a really good signing for the club, and you talked about his history with being an understudy at your time when you were playing there, mate.
Yeah, look, Scope, he was good, and just because you're a good bloke and just because you were good, you had a good time, you had a good experience, or he had a good experience while he was a player at a club, has no guarantees whatsoever how he's going to go as a coach. But he is all signs are good. He was very well regarded in St Helens. The situation arose at the Gold Coast Titans, where they basically, I think it was something like they had to extend him by a certain amount of period. So, I don't know the situation, but you look back in hindsight and you realise he actually was doing a very good job there. And spent another couple of years sort of, sharpening the sword as an assistant under Trent Robinson. And as I said before, I said in the podcast, he was a bloke. When he came to the Knights, he came from the Bulldogs. They bought him as an understudy to Joey after Leo Denver left, went to West, and he just fitted in immediately. He's a terrific bloke. Everyone really liked him. Affable, well respected in the community. So I think it's a very good appointment.
Yeah, I haven't heard a bad word about it, mate. Was it? How they always got these weird clauses up. Wasn't it a clause for Holbrook if he wasn't at a certain part of the ladder by the end of the season, that gave the Titans the ability to move him on? Does that sound right?
Scope. There was something there. I think it was more to the point. I think it was more. Basically, there was a cut-off point with a clause kicking in. To that extent, I don't think it had anything to do with position on the ladder.
Okay.
I think it was a point that they had to extend or cut ties, and they made a tough decision, decided to cut ties. But yeah,
we spoke to him yesterday, Matty, and he was all about, because I know how frustrated you are when we watch the footy and there's another Newcastle kid playing for a different club, and he's well aware of that. And it was actually quite interesting that he'd spoken to Chief about it, and that he said, yes, that's definitely one of my priorities because it's such a. But he's saying even going as far north as Coffs Harbour. He said the area, the catchment area, is so big that that's one of his top priorities is to make sure any good kids stay in the system.
Well, that's it, and Fletch, and they've got to work harder these days. I remember back in the day, one of the things the Newcastle club would hold over your head when you're a young player is that, mate, they'd offer you unders, and they'd say, well, you know what, if you don't like it, go down to the big bad, go down to big bad Sydney, go and test your luck down there. And blokes go, I don't want to go there. Where these days, the attraction to go to the big cities, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, is really appealing. And something like they're finding it now that, clubs or players don't want to go to the more, to a club like Canberra, and Newcastle's in that boat now. But I think the real big one is he's got to get there, and they've got to cultivate. They've got to coach the coaches in the lower grades. They've got to get a red hot recruitment guy, because honestly, Scope and Fletcher, you've seen my frustration. Honestly, you see kids and you go, mate, I haven't heard of this young bloke coming through, like a Kurt Donahue. Yeah, and then someone will say, no, he was in the Knights system and they let him go. And you go, how do you let this kid go?
Is Hudson Young
seriously,
too,
the next guy's...
Yeah.
Keep going. Tom Starling, Zach Hosking, Hudson Young. Honestly, it just keeps going on and on. Joe Tarpany.
Keeley.
The one that spins me out is Latrell Mitchell couldn't make. He wanted to play for Newcastle. Matthew Shield.
He was a Taree boy, wasn't he?
And no offence to the player that replaced him, or they picked Brock Lamb. Yeah. They picked Brock Lamb in front of.
That's right. Yep.
And
the other one was GI. GI. GI went to Hunter Sports High, and we didn't take him. So you just go, mate, I don't know what dopes are in charge there, but fair dinkum. Honestly, they might be in charge of a badminton team somewhere. Who knows?
I've got a saying, Matthew.
Wherever that badminton team be going downhill.
I've got a saying, Matthew. You don't cry over spilt milk. You know what I mean? So we just got to move on.
True, Fletch. You just scoop it up.
I come up with that because the kids, when they were having cereal once, knocked the milk over and they started boiling. I said, why are you crying over spilt milk? So that I just, do you reckon that'll take off?
Fletch, I'm just jotting it down at the moment. If you don't mind me. So I'm in the car at the moment. Trisha's driving. We are going in to see Dolly Parton, the musical, 9 to 5.
Oh, you 9 to 5. Why do you froth on musicals? Where's this come from?
I love it. What's it called, Trish? 9 to 5? Anyway, it's not important. It's Dolly Parton, the musical. Yeah. Mate, I'm sick for musical theatre.
Why?
Have you seen the Book of Mormon, Matty?
I have.
It's awesome. Yeah. I seen that in London, mate. When I was over in the UK, I had a couple of days to spare before I was coming home to Australia, so I just went to the theatre by myself.
That's good. Have you seen the Book of Corey Norman, though? That's even better. That's an absolute beauty. I want to see that one.
What about the games on the weekend, Matty? We're a couple of days away now. The Raiders, how do they bounce back from that disappointment on Sunday, mate? They've got the Sharkies coming to town.
Do you know, Scope, I think physically, I don't think physically it would be a big problem. They were rested the week before, so they had a little bit of juice in the tank anyway. I think they'll be okay, and physically it's psychologically, mentally getting up again and blowing that big lead. I remember we played 98 against Fletch, against the Roosters. We led 16-0, they knocked us over, and that put a big hole in us. And then the next week we played the Bulldogs, led 16-0. But we just had our eyes in the rear vision mirror, and they ran us down, beat us an extra time. So, it's a big one for Ricky, but I think he'll get them up. One thing about it, though, I tell you what, I've rarely heard the Sharks under Fitzy talk tough,
yes.
which I really like. I like the fact that they're on the front foot, mate. They are super confident. They're going down. Like Boyd, they've won 8 from 9, playing the best football under Fitzy's tenure. They're going to take some beating, but a side doesn't just a side suddenly isn't a bad side by having a bad end of game like they did against the Broncos the other time. They've still been the best side in the competition this year, the Raiders, and I reckon they get it done, particularly at home at night. I mean, beating the Raiders at home at night is as tough as beating the Storm at home at night back in their peak years.
Matty, the right side of Canberra, it's been pretty ordinary all year, but got exposed immensely last Sunday, and especially in that 15-minute period where we went berserk. As a ball player, as a 6, and put yourself in Trindle's shoes, do you just keep going there? Are you relentlessly just keep going there?
Yeah, I reckon you do, Fletch. Not so much short sides. I reckon you just open the field up. You work to fast scrum line, open the field up, open the spaces up, and then just get the ball across there quick with plenty of bodies moving around. Although, Ricky, he would have made, that's one of the primary things he would have worked on through the week, that communication between him and Timoko. So, yeah, it'll be interesting because that's Cronulla's best side as well.
Yeah.
So that's the big matchup.
Have you ever been in a team like defensively, Matty, where it's like a certain, maybe a string of games where defensively just the connection between a team? Because, like, even though it happened on the weekend, a lot of people have been talking about the problematic right edge for a while and they just can't seem to fix what it is. Have you ever been in and around defenders where you're like, we've been doing all the video, we just can't figure out what's going wrong?
Oh, mate, Scope, if you had defended alongside me, you'd realise that defence was never a problem, mate.
It's never a problem for the Panthers as well, Matty. They've got the Bulldogs on Sunday. I love that. If the Bulldogs and Panthers play each other 10 times, how many times do the Panthers win this game, do you reckon, Matty?
Oh, they win 9th, but 9 out of 10, I reckon. Like, mate, they're still my pick. Penrith, last week even I looked and they were 8-1 to win the comp, and honestly, it's just massive overs. $4.50 now, which is probably more like it. Yep. They're still my pick to win the comp. Any team you put up against Penrith, I pick Penrith to win. But mate, they'll give some cheek this week. One of the big ones, like the Sexton thing. I mean, the Canterbury spine and how it looks has been the most talked about spine in history this year. But they look better with Sexton there. One of the things that really got on my goat was that everyone mid the year when they were trying to justify Galvin in and Sexton out, they were showing, oh mate, look, he's not doing this, he's not creating enough, he's not doing that. Well, I'll tell you what's happened. In the quest to have a better attack, mate, they're just spewing errors. That's what's killing them. Their errors are killing them. Their defence in their own quarters is pretty stoic. It's good, but they just can't defend the errors. Now, when Sexton comes back into the side, you'll see a reduction in the errors, and I think that gives them a chance. And the other big one is Dylan Edwards at the moment. As far as the high ball's concerned, he's dipped in confidence. So the big one is Burton, mate. If I'm on Serraldo, I say to Burton, listen, Matt, stop trying to place the ball, mate. We need to win this game. To win this game, we need to not just reduce errors, we need to eliminate errors, and we're going to make them make plenty. And one of the biggest ones, mate, we need you to put up those satanic bombs. Yeah. Any chance you get, just send them high to Dylan.
And we were discussing this too. We feel that it's a benefit playing in the day for the Dogs.
Yep.
I mean, Penrith can play in all sorts of, but if it was dour and wet and their defence, they just strangle you out of it. I reckon the weather is going to play an important... Because remember early in the year when they went on their run, the Dogs, they had Salmon ball playing, they had Max King ball playing, they were moving the defence around.
And all the games they struggled in were in the wet.
In the wet. The last couple of weeks, they've just gone back to, like, they're not a power game. They've got no power up front. They try and... I mean, no disrespect to Max King, but he doesn't have the punch at the moment.
Totally agree. Mate, if they're going to beat Penrith, mate, they need to get forward in early tackles and then use the football. A little bit of sideline to sideline. That's their best chance. The wet weather, they've just taken too many risks and, too much acute ball playing in the line. With Penrith, it's interesting. I'm really curious to see what Penrith do this week. If I've got a little bit, even last year at times, if I've got one criticism of Penrith, at times they can be too patient. They can actually just, inside ball, take it easy, get through the sets. And I think sometimes that gives opposition teams an opportunity to beat you in the last 20 minutes. If you've got a side of that quality, why not go out there and try to give yourself the opportunity to blow them away early? And then if they hold their dukes up the opposition, then we settle into an arm wrestle. But I get the feeling this week Penrith might open themselves up early. I think it's the first time this year they've been full strength with mail out that Kenny will come back into the team.
Kenny will be good. Yeah, you're right. But Warriors had their chances last week, Matty. They just didn't have the class to finish it off, did they?
No, that's right. That's it. And Penrith, if you're going to play that patient, is that you put all your chips into the last 20 minutes. So, I think there'll be a bit of a change this week for Penrith. I think they'll open the shoulders up early.
Well, Matthew, I realise why you're going, and I can understand why Trish, your wife, is keen to see Dolly Parton, the music. It's called Here You Come Again. And the star, is Trisha Paoluccio. So it's an Italian getting out there singing Dolly Parton. I've just had a look at her. She looks very lifelike to Dolly Parton.
Given the fact that
the measurements are
given the fact that
pretty much
Dolly's
spot on.
similar. Well, given the fact that she's Italian, there we go. What a song! Yeah. I've got a mate. I'm not going to say who he is at Newcastle, but he works one day a week, and he works from 3 o'clock till 5 o'clock on a Friday. That's all he does. So I'm going to start a musical in his life called Working 3 to 5.
Oh, shout out to Crowie anyway. Shout out to Crowie.
Thanks, Matty. Matty, enjoy the 9 to 5. This has been brought to you by Newtech.
It rhymes with Matt Hoy.
You're still here? We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade. But if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.